Talking. I'm Debbie with Vacation Club Loans, and today we're going to be talking to Kaity. Kaity, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. A little tired, but good.
And we also have a very special guest. We have Jerry with the timeshare store. And Jerry, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So this is the first time we've had you on one of our podcasts, so I just wanted to kind of introduce you to the audience. Obviously, you're with the timeshare store, so can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the timeshare store?
Yeah, so I've been working with the timeshare store for 24 years. We specialize in Disney Vacation Club resale. We help people with rentals, purchasing, selling, whatever the case may be. Our company's been around for 30 years, so if you need help, we have experts that can help you with any questions or details. But I love Disney. I've been a Disney fan my entire life, so certainly happy to be here.
Excellent. How did you get into the DVC resales?
Interesting story. Like when I was 18 years old, the timeshare industry in Orlando was like booming, and it was 1994. So Disney Vacation Club had just started in 1992. I had worked for a company called Westgate, which is a local timeshare here. Well, it's actually kind of expanded since 94, but anyway. So I was like, you know what? I want to get into real estate. I want to do this timeshare thing. I hear it's a great opportunity for people to make a good living. So let me try it. So I was in college. I got my real estate license at 18. I was just finished high school. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to try this timeshare thing. And anyway, long story short, the goal was always to get to Disney Vacation Club. I knew that Disney was, I've always been a Disney fan. So I was like, I'll start with this Westgate company and then work my way, see if I can get into Disney. And then long story longer, a friend of mine was in the resale business, and she's like, why don't you do resale? Like, it's the same thing, except you could just work for us instead of, Disney or for Westgate or whoever. I was like, okay. And she had the company, or her dad actually owned the company, the timeshare store. So I started working for them and never looked back.
Wow, that's amazing that you've been doing it your whole life.
Pretty much, yeah.
Your whole life.
Yeah, exactly.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about some pretty cool stuff.
Yes. First, I did want to, because we are filming on location. We are in the new Fort Wilderness cabins, or cabins at Fort Wilderness. The little one-bedroom cabins. There was 5 of us in here last night.
Yes.
And it was pretty good. I think the only thing that we kind of struggled with is, 5 women and 1 cabin is fine, but then there's 1 bathroom.
There's only
and so
one
we were
bathroom.
kind of like, okay, like how are we gonna figure that out? But you loved the bunk beds. You were top bunk.
I love the bunk beds.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never had a bunk bed when I was a kid, so every time we stay someplace and it has bunk beds, I'm like, top bunk!
Dibs on top. Yeah.
I call dibs!
So we'll be doing obviously the full tour and a full review back in our other multi-million-dollar studio later. But yeah, we're going to talk about Disney Springs because, Jerry, you are an expert of many things, and one specifically fun one is Disney Springs.
Yeah, I mean, Disney Springs obviously is such an amazing place. It's got a long history with Disney, but yeah, I love the restaurants, love the entertainment, love that it's a hub, that it's a place where you can go without having to pay an admission. Like you can shop, you can dine, you can listen to music, whatever. So love Disney Springs, yeah.
So when did you start going to? It was before it was Downtown Disney.
Yeah.
So
I remember when in the 80s, so my mom used to have a house in Altamont Springs. We used to come, I used to live in Virginia. We'd come down here for the summers and used to go to, I think it was the Lake Buena Vista Marketplace or something like that. And then, then it turned into the Disney Village Marketplace. But it basically was like this nice little area to go shopping. It was nothing like it is today.
Wasn't it called Pleasure Island, I thought?
So Pleasure Island evolved. So
Okay.
that came a little bit later, but and I had many days at Pleasure Island.
That was my first time there. It was Pleasure Island.
Pleasure Island was amazing, but it also had shopping. So Pleasure Island was just a little part of it. It was like a night area for families kind of families, teenagers, and up. But anyway, it was lots of great memories. But you still had the shopping, you still had some options. But Pleasure Island, then they built the West End, I think is what they call it.
Yeah.
The West Side.
Yeah.
The West Side. So anyway, ask me any questions and I'll divulge.
when I was a kid, my earliest ones was, we didn't have a ton of money to actually go to Disney, so we would go to Downtown Disney all the time, and because my parents loved Cirque du Soleil, so we went to La Nuba a few times. We, of course, went to Disney Quest, which I
yeah.
miss so greatly. I wish it would just come back. I think it's so fun. We did Disney Quest a lot. We weren't a Chuck E. Cheese family. We were more of a Disney Quest family whenever we could get over there. And then the old Planet Hollywood. The new Planet Hollywood's amazing. It's great. But the old style, just blue dome with stars and everything was really cool.
So I was here when that opened, and like Bruce Willis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Demi Moore, like all of those people were in, like coming to Orlando, and I was essentially there, like, oh my gosh, like Jean-Claude Van Damme, just walking through the crowd. You're like, this is crazy. Like, this is such a cool place when it first opened. I mean, granted, it's still cool, but it's lost some of that luster.
Yeah, kind of that little charm. But I will say 3 stories, 3 kitchens. They really get people in and out of there, and the food is pretty good.
The Captain Crunch chicken, I think, is like, go.
The fried lasagna, amazing.
Yeah.
Like there's like little fries, so good. I don't even want to think about how many calories it is, but it's like delicious.
So what's your favorite restaurant at Disney Springs then?
My favorite one still is like top notch for me, and I have a few favorites, but is the the T-Rex restaurant. I'm not a big fan of like that, like the animatronics and stuff. Like I think that's fun. But they have this red fish dish on there. We just went in there because it was the only place with an available reservation because we didn't plan ahead at all. We're like, oh, well, let's see. The kids will like it. But the kids were terrified of it. Every 10 minutes, they're freaking out. Like, well, we're sitting, so we got to do this. But the red fish, it was like, it was so good. And it was like an actual big dish. And I did not expect to get like legitimately good food at a place like that. I thought it would be like, oh, French onion soup and some French fries, and then we're back out on the town. But it was so good.
Now, is T-Rex kind of like Rainforest Cafe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but with dinosaurs,
yeah, it's
kind
a
of.
dinosaur
Yeah.
themed,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also like, again, I think that Rainforest Cafe is great, but it's been around for a while. So now you've got T-Rex, which is like the evolution of Rainforest, which the animatronics are a little bit more detailed. Like the lighting effects are amazing.
There's lighting effects,
Oh.
more sound effects. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
and then every 10 minutes, it's like,
yeah, there's basically like an asteroid that's coming. So like,
Yeah.
Oh,
it
that's
actually
so cool.
they have a storyline that's going on, and
Yeah.
and within different rooms of the restaurant, they've got like the Ice Age or just
Yeah,
various
yeah.
parts where it's a very cool restaurant.
I have not eaten there yet, but now it's going to be on my number
it's
one
pretty
list.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely good. Yeah.
And what's your favorite restaurant?
Oh, that's a tough question, but I mean, by and far, I think the Boathouse stands out. Like, there's so many good restaurants at Disney Springs, but the Boathouse, just for the atmosphere, for just the quality of the food, the service, all of it. Like, it's just, I think, is probably the best restaurant at Disney Springs. If you go there during sunset, it is absolutely beautiful. The sun sets over Saratoga Springs, kind of off in the background, and you've got this dock that you can sit out on, have a drink, or have dinner. It is spectacular.
Oh yeah, that extra like dock bar thing that they have is amazing. Yeah, we
that's
usually
really
go
cool.
there after we're done eating inside. And we're like, can we just go over there? And like, yeah, sure.
And you don't need a reservation for that dock. So you can go out there,
Just
have a
kinda go
cocktail,
through,
or
yeah.
have appetizers or whatever. You can just walk right out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice.
My favorite is, well, it's brand new, the Summer House.
Oh, we were that
I love
was
Summer
amazing.
House. It's
Yeah.
their food, and I love it because of the food. Like, that's the best quality food. I mean, the Boathouse is outstanding. I haven't been to T-Rex yet, but they have a cookie bar, which
True.
Yeah.
how can you not love a restaurant that has an actual separate sort of area where you can walk up and get cookies to go, but the dessert there, I mean, when we
Oh my
had
God.
dinner there,
Yeah.
the chocolate cake was probably
That tall and like this, but it like I don't know.
Yeah.
It was like this.
it was
wide.
enough for the
Spectacular.
entire
Crazy.
table to
Yeah.
share.
There were 6 of us, and I don't think we finished it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But they have those,
The lemon thing too, whatever
that
that
was really
was.
good.
Yeah.
and we had key lime meringue. Was that it?
Yep.
Key lime?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's right.
yeah.
That was
Yes.
delicious. Yep.
Some other kind
and
of
a cookies and cream
cookie.
Rice Krispie treat. Yeah, we just like give us all of the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they have the potato salad deviled eggs, which
Ooh, those are really good.
I haven't actually made that at home yet, but the next time I
Yeah,
make deviled
TBD.
eggs, like for Thanksgiving
Yeah.
or something, I'm gonna put a little potato salad
Yeah.
in because that was just amazing.
That was good.
Well,
Loved
and I
it.
think too until September, forget the actual date in September for the drone show.
Right.
So we, Debbie, like thinking ahead here, like did you specifically request a table on the balcony?
Yes.
Yeah. So we requested a table on the balcony about an hour to 45 minutes before the drone show started. So we knew we would still be there and we wouldn't be like lingering to watch it. So we got to watch it on the balcony at Summer House because the drone show is right there. So I've been telling everybody about it. I was like, I thought, I'd be like, okay, cool, whatever, drones, blah. It was like fantastic. And being able to
Very
sit at the
cool.
table and have like our drinks and stuff and not have to be in that massive line to
Yeah.
get by the thing was amazing. We
Right.
also watched it from the parking garage
Yeah,
on the way
they
back.
do charge you like when you make your reservation and they know the drone show is gonna. I think they do the drone show twice a night.
8:30
It's
and
9
then
o'clock and I think 10:45.
Yeah.
Right. So they do it twice. So if they know you're going to be there, let's say you make a reservation for 8 o'clock, they're like, okay, you have to pay a fee to sit on our dock, balcony area.
So there's an additional fee for the seating?
Do you remember what it was?
Oh, really?
Yes,
Wow, I didn't realize
yes.
that.
I think
That
I'm
was more
not
of a
100%.
life
I
hack.
don't remember exact, but I think it was like $25 a person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it
it's-
wasn't
okay.
$100
That's
a person,
fine.
but it was
Yeah.
like $25 per person
Oh, per person.
Yeah, that's-
to see the drone
That
show.
could be steep if you have 4 people.
okay.
Yeah. or
Yeah, we had
6.
6.
Or 6.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was an
Thanks,
extra
Debbie.
150.
Yeah. Really, I'm looking out.
It was an extra $150 for the show, but
We were like, oh, how lucky.
It's amazing.
But
yeah,
no.
yeah. But the food is so good and the atmosphere, and we've dined there several times now,
Yeah.
and the staff is outstanding. But the interior, even if you don't get to sit outside by the water, the
It's really
interior,
nice.
it's very natural. It's got a lot of greenery. It's very,
And during
crisp
the day, it's a
clean.
lot of natural lighting too. So it's an amazing brunch spot if you like brunch. 10
Yeah.
out of 10.
It's
I
very-
will say that their coleslaw, their sides of coleslaw,
Oh my gosh.
do leave something to be
It's
desired.
a ramekin that's
Yeah, the
this big.
smallest.
It's the tiniest thing.
I'll put a picture up. I ordered ribs and it comes with a side of coleslaw, which I don't eat coleslaw. So when the food runner dropped
was so
it,
funny.
then and we like, okay, thanks, whatever. And I didn't even think about it. And then the server came back over and she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. But we forgot your coleslaw. And I was like, it's fine. I don't need it. I don't like it. It's okay. No. We'll be right back with it. I'm like, okay. So they made a really big deal about it. So we're like, it's got to be like some
Amazing.
like serious
Yeah.
coleslaw. And it's literally the ramen. It was like half a spoonful of coleslaw.
Yeah.
And
It was like one
it
bite.
barely
It was
fit
a
in my
bite.
hand. Yeah, it was like one of those like palate cleansers
Yeah.
that they give you between courses. It was just the funniest thing. I kind of wanted to take the ramekin home just to put like 2 drops of ketchup in it or something. Like, I don't know. But yeah, everything is really, really good there. And it's a great brunch spot. I think every time we've gone, though, we've gotten reservations, right? For Summer House?
When we went for lunch that one time, I think we just walked in.
No, I did like the day before. But
Oh,
it,
you
it was
did?
still, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't, we went there at like 11,
Yeah.
so it was pretty, like,
As soon as they opened.
pretty smooth going.
Yeah.
But I will say the whole renovation, kind of going back in time really quick, like the big to make it was downtown Disney, which I can understand why that would be confusing because there's downtown Disney in California, right?
Yeah.
So then it's kind of like where are we? But they announced that there was going to be Disney Springs. And then in like 2015, 2016, the new stuff started to trickle out.
Yeah.
And then they're adding more and more stuff. So initially me hate any type of change. And I'm like, oh, yeah, why would they mess with something that whatever? And then I thought about it. I was like, when's the last time I've been there? It's probably been about 10 years. So yeah, maybe they do need to like revamp it to get people over there. But
They did an amazing job with Disney Springs
Really
because
good.
again, when Pleasure Island was there, and it was like a hub for me. I honestly went like every weekend for 4 years of my life. Like it was a place where I had tons of friends. It was just like I said, it was like a hub. When they said they were closing it, and then all of a sudden they're going to put something else in, I'm like, oh my gosh, what are they doing?
They're ruining
Yeah,
it.
this is
Yeah.
like this is an experience. Like families, they don't always need to go to the theme parks. They don't
Yeah.
always need to, it's a place for them to unwind, maybe reconnect, whatever. So I'm like, they're making a mistake. They shouldn't close this place. They closed it.
yeah.
And then they put this like complex with unbelievable options for shopping. Like people, when you're on vacation, fortunately, they want to spend money. They're like,
Yeah.
I'm away from work. I get to have fun. I don't care
Show me
about my
fun things
budget.
I don't
Let's just go
need.
shopping.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. So they put some great shopping there. They put some great dining there. I mean, they made it look absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's almost European-esque. You know. So they really knocked it out of the park.
And it's like a great balance of fast eats, fast drinks, and full sit down and like bars. So that's one thing. I put like little categories in here for like different types of stuff that I love, because you could go there. Like, for instance, my brother got married a handful of years ago, and they didn't really plan to do any type of dinner, you know, the night before, but everybody happened to come into town for the wedding party. And we were like, what do we do? And we were like, well, you know, it's kind of a pain in the butt to go to downtown Orlando. Do you want to just go to Disney Springs? Like, there's, you know, it's clean, it's relatively safe, and things are kind of expensive. So, you know, very safe, not relative. I don't know why I said that. But it's like, oh, and we can, you know, there were people from all over the country. So we're like, oh, we'll give them a little Disney thing without having to pay for tickets. And we were able to go in, get some fast bites, go to the Coke World, taste the terrible flight, and then, like, there's like so many options, whether you plan or you don't plan. You're not going to go hungry, or if you're determined enough, you won't be sober towards the end of it, you know? Like, depending on what you're going for.
What's nice is you don't have to have a plan for Disney
Yeah.
Springs. You know, like you go to the parks and you're kind of strategizing your day and what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? Disney Springs, you can do that, or you can just wing it. And there's so many nice little places where you can find without having a reservation. You know, like Polite Pig, it's a barbecue place.
So good. I just went there for the first time like 2 weeks ago.
Unbelievable.
So good.
Yeah, Polite Pig, you just walk up. It's like counter ordering, so you don't have to like have a reservation, and then you can sit down. They have craft beers. They have an unbelievable bourbon bar, like unbelievable, like bourbons you cannot find.
See, there's
anywhere.
our bourbon guy. We should have just had him
we
at the
needed
bourbon
him at
tasting.
Zero Beach with us.
Oh,
We
yeah.
were like-
but like, again, Pappy is like a very popular, you know, very fancy, expensive, but they have every version of Pappy. They have every version of like, you know, Buffalo Trace's lineup. Every single bourbon you could dream of, and obscure ones too, they have. So great barbecue, great bourbon bar, great little find if you just stumble upon it, you know, you don't need a reservation. So.
Yeah.
Or like Hangar Bar, you know, we'll usually just kind of be moseying around. And sometimes I think we got a reservation once for Wine Bar George, and we didn't really understand what it was. You're like, oh, we could have dinner there. And you can, but whatever we ordered was just like some charcuterie or whatever. And we were like, oh, I'm hungry again after about an hour. So we like went across the way to Hangar Bar, which I love Hangar Bar. My family does all airplanes and stuff. So we like to go in there, and the drinks are fun and the people are great. And you can get like little tapas and stuff. And then we just went in, sat down, of course, depending on how busy it is. But I've never had a problem getting into Hangar Bar either.
So like a Easter egg is the name of the Hangar Bar is like Jacques something. Do you know the whole name of that bar? So that is an obscure character in is it Raiders of the Lost Ark? I think he's an obscure character.
Jock Lindsay's.
Jock Lindsay. He's an obscure character that's named after him from the Raiders of the Lost Ark. He was a pilot in that movie. So a lot of people don't know that.
I didn't know that.
There you go.
Oh yeah, he's the guy that was flying the amphibious airplane on the thing.
you
Can't
go.
see, but there you go. That is a fun fact.
Fun fact.
Yeah, I really like paddlefish a lot. I had, what was it called before paddlefish?
So it was the Lily Empress, and
Yes.
then it was Fulton's Crab House.
Yeah.
So it's gone through a couple name changes, but the structure's there, and I think it's always been a kind of a seafood restaurant.
Yeah.
Lily Empress might have been like a country style, but anyway.
I think it was still seafood. Yeah, I went with my parents a few months back, and
Empress
when we
Lily.
were
Empress Lily,
Lily,
yeah.
and we were waiting outside, and I was like, "Hey, I need to get content for this restaurant. I'm a few videos short on the month. There's enough for 3. You guys come with me. I don't want to go alone." So we're like, "Okay," and we're standing outside, and my parents were looking at it, and they're like, "I thought we were going to paddlefish," and I'm like, "What it is?" And they're like, "No, this is Empress Lily," and I was like, nope, sign says paddlefish. I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, no, we went here the night before our senior prom because my parents met in high school.
Oh, nice.
So that's where they had they went to Lake Brantley, so they had their senior prom and then went over there. So it was cool. He's like, yeah, everything's exactly the same. Like everything, you know.
They just put a new sign.
Yeah, and then
Smells
like
the same in
revamped
there.
the
It's like
inside.
seafood and
yeah.
yeah, definitely.
But I really liked that like they had mock shoe, which my family is Cajun, so
Bless you.
it's like yeah, it's the allergies in the
What
forest.
is mock
Yeah,
shoe? I don't even know
so
what that is.
it's like not an expert here. I just eat it, but it's like corn, bell peppers. It's kind of like Yeah, like my dad kind of called it like Cajun succotash, and I've never really put any thought into making it. Like my grandma and my great grandma would always make it, so we hadn't had it in a really long time. And my dad noticed it on the menu, and he was like, "Oh, we're getting that." So like, okay, and it was really good. And they have like some Cajun flair on some dishes, and then some Japanese flair on some other dishes.
yeah.
So they've got like wasabi and stuff, and then of course like New England with all the crab boils and everything. So we sat on a table in the bar right next to where they were doing all the seafood boils. So you could see her build the stuff
that's
and
cool.
throw it in. So it was really, really good. But what's your favorite fast eat?
Well, right now I'm starving talking about all this food. It's like I think my stomach's going to start growling because I'm like, I want some Cajun seafood boil. Besides the Summer House, I would have to say the Edison. So the Edison, the one thing that stands out to me is they have in any of their cocktails, they will actually serve in a giant punch bowl. And it's a little expensive, of course, because
I don't
you're
know
getting
if it's any of them. I think it's like a few of them. Some of them
So
you
it's
couldn't,
only
but
a select few?
yeah,
Okay, so it's a select few. So we went with a group of friends and we got the giant punch bowl, and it was literally
Oh my
a
God.
ladle, and you just sat
wow.
there and ladled your drinks throughout the
into
whole
like beautiful
dinner.
glassware.
It was
I was
so
like,
cool.
okay.
The
Yeah.
Edison's like
They're not
the
messing
interior
around.
is just well done. Like it
Yeah.
just looks
So
very,
cool.
whatever.
It's very
18th
steampunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, steampunk. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
It was
Yeah.
designed after like this 1920s warehouse.
Yeah.
And it's got this, like during the day, they try to do the family, food and drinks, and they have this bacon. I don't know, it's like a
Bacon
Yeah.
on a rope or something.
No,
on a
it's
string,
yeah,
on a
and it's
string.
like on a clothesline, and it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
hanging
bacon
up like
clothesline,
this,
I
and
think
you're
they
like,
call it.
Damn,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it looks so good. You're just
and
like,
it was good.
It's the presentation. I mean, we've
Yeah.
all had bacon,
It's
but
the pageantry, and it's
Yes.
thick bacon.
It is,
You're not
yeah.
getting like that microwave bacon or nothing
It
like
does
that.
look really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
it is really good.
Yeah.
And
But
that-
they have like 6 different dining areas,
Mm-hmm.
and then at night they have kind of a
kinda like
more
a
of
swinging music.
sexy,
Yeah,
Yeah.
flapper kind of swing
masturbate
music.
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
entertainment. So when we were there, they had live music downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
We sat upstairs, but they had live music downstairs. And I thought, now this is a great date place. Like if
Yeah.
you were going on a date, I would definitely pick that for a nighttime date place. But that was probably my other favorite is the Edison. But the punch bowl was just hysterical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, he said, he's like, oh, well, it's about 10 servings. And we're like, okay, well, there's 6 of us. So that's enough for, about it. It was so much more than 10. So much more than 10. We have videos of like, I think we started playing silly games, and somebody did like a push up on the ground or something, and then other people were dancing. We were like, this is probably 1 bucket of alcohol is enough. But it was the food. You got the grilled cheese and
Yeah.
just like ran it out. Everything was great.
Yeah, they
It was
had the
really
grilled
good.
cheese and tomato soup on the menu.
nice, yeah.
But
And we
they
didn't have a
had lot.
reservation, and it was a Friday night in November.
Yeah.
And we just
Yeah.
walked in. We were like, hey, can we come? And they were like, sure.
I've never had
You
to
know?
have a reservation ever for the Edison.
Mm-hmm.
Usually you can walk in. Sometimes I think once in a while they'll check IDs though, which I thought was interesting. I think I've been there and they're like, you need an ID to get in. I'm like, oh, okay.
I heard. I don't. This is what I heard.
This was at night,
used
though.
to be.
Yeah.
It used to be a 21 over at night, and now they
Kind of like
changed
Trader
it.
Sam's vibes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
After
changed
like
it.
8 o'clock or
I
something.
think
Yeah.
since COVID.
Because
now
it's
they've
still the
opened up.
full kitchen. Like you can do it, and there were I wouldn't call them children, but they were younger than 21. I would say it's like no
Okay.
little kids running around, but like
So
definitely
maybe
teens.
it's been a while since I've been there.
Yeah.
Well, they changed it. Now it's not like that. I
Okay.
think they've kind of made it more family later too.
Oh, nice.
Have you been into what is it called? Gideon's?
Gideon's Bakehouse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Love.
I swear to goodness, I never knew that was an actual dessert.
I thought it was a
place.
store. I thought we were going to like a cool Victorian store,
I mean, it
and
says
so I waited
bakehouse.
in line. I'm here for
Right.
it. Yeah.
It looked like a vampire place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Because
good.
it was in November, so I was like, well,
yeah.
maybe this is a play on Halloween still. Like, I had no idea at all.
I'd
Because
never
you
heard of
cannot
it.
tell on the outside that there's cookies and cakes and pies in there because it's so, there's no windows.
You have no idea what it is.
You
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
see inside of there. And they only let a few people in. So literally, there's someone at the door, and it's like, there's a line.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, you two come in. And then I'm
And
like,
you're
are
like-
they killing people in there?
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, because we were like, there's a line. It must be cool. And then I think you went up to the person. You're like, what is this place? And like, oh, it's like cookies. And but I'm like, Well, we'll get in line then. Yeah.
So Gideon's was a small business in Orlando. Actually, it's in Winter Park. It's in the East End Market, and it's this tiny, tiny little one-station hub where like there's a whole bunch of businesses within this housing of I guess it's like 20 businesses in like this house or this little building. And Gideon's was one little spot with one counter, and they made only X number of cookies for the day. And they would always sell out. Like,
Wow.
so, and it's still there. East End Market's still there, the Gideons. But they would make, by noon, people would line up to buy these cookies. So anyway, I think they realized that they had a gold mine. They're like, we're killing it with what we do. So let's just expand and take it to where all the foot traffic is, where everyone, would potentially buy our stuff. And they have been so popular ever since Disney Springs that it's like a thing now.
Is it a chain now?
No, it's not a chain.
I couldn't
think they
even
only have-
believe that
I
there
think
was
they only have two
that one
locations.
other one because I asked them, like, so are you guys like everywhere or what's it?
Yeah.
Like, no, we just have one over. I was like, that's crazy.
And what's insane, you probably knew this, but when it first opened, they had a, like get on the list kind of thing, and they would text you when it was time to go for your
Wow.
reservation. The line was 12 hours long. They would send
Yeah.
people away. They're like, we can't accommodate
You can't come in today.
Yeah.
So for months as it first opened, like nobody could, only a select few could get on that list and
Wow.
finally get in. But anyway, Gideon's have you had it?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay, yeah.
Yes.
And their candles are fantastic. I still have that coffee scented candle. It's so good.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
the mystery of it that's so cool because, like, there's always a line, but you don't really know what it is. So it's like if you were walking by, maybe it was your first time to Disney Springs, you would be like, I'm not sure what that is. But then someone like me that's curious,
You're
I'd have been
missing
like,
out.
I don't know what you're doing, but I'm getting in line.
Yeah.
Because I want to see
Yeah.
what's at the end of this line.
Yeah.
I want to have the experience.
I will say my favorite dessert place in there is I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but like the ganachery or the ganachery
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah. Oh
So
my
good.
gosh,
The
yeah.
giant s'mores. Every time I go, I'm like, okay, well, we've got to end with that because I've got to get some s'mores. And it's like this big, huge, always a huge mess.
Yep. And
They're-
handmade, like they
Yeah, you can watch them
watch
do
them
it.
create it
Yeah.
for you.
Do they
The
roast the
marshmallow
marshmallow?
is literally a cube that's like this big, and then it's put on there, and it's so good.
I think that was like a limited thing for a Christmas like release they did, and then all of a sudden it just became so popular that they're like, we're doing it.
And the graham crackers aren't like, so for me, picky, but like sometimes when you get big like s'mores like that, the graham cracker bakes apart and then it's horrible.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a softer like bread cookie rather than like a hard cracker. So you're able, it's still a mess because it's all over the
So it's
place.
flexible.
It's melted chocolate and everything. Yeah, so you can actually bite through it and eat it. So good.
That is by
Like
far the
powdered sugar.
best s'mores you'll ever have. I mean,
Yes,
it is
period.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you
so
have you
good.
had it?
I have not.
Okay.
Well, we got so many things to do before you get back on that Brightline train. Yeah. I will say, unsung hero of Disney Springs, the parking garages.
Yeah.
Love.
Good call.
I
Yeah.
never have to worry about like, I don't know. We went to Universal a few weeks ago, and I hadn't been in a while. But we have the annual passes. We just forget about them sometimes. And so we're going, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, I don't know. Why would I go down that aisle? I don't know how many spots are available on that aisle. But now I've got to go all the way through. This is insane. It's taking everyone so much longer to park. This is crazy.
Yep.
And so like all the techie parking garages are
Yeah.
fantastic.
So if you don't know what she's referring to, at Disney Springs, there's green lights and red lights. And not only that, but there's a sign to tell you how many parking spots are available if you're going to go down that lane. And then visually you can see green or red. So if you see a green one, you're like, oh, I'm good. I got
Yeah.
a spot.
Right, so you're not driving.
If it's
back
red,
and
it's
forth.
like pointless. Why would I
Yeah.
go down there?
Yeah, and I've seen it in other places. I think at the Orlando Airport.
The
has it now.
airport.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is, I think Disney created this, or the Imagineers might have created this, and then it's kind of implemented in other places.
Yeah,
But
brilliant.
fantastic. Yeah. And just
And you don't have
getting
to
over and through
walk
there.
800 miles like Universal Studios. You park in those garages, and you have
Well,
a
and I've
30
always
minute
thought
walk.
of that because City Walk. So when I was a teenager, we did City Walk a lot because it was free parking after 5, and then you could just sit there and pretend you were doing something fun. You know, like we didn't have money to like do anything. And Disney Spring or Downtown Disney at that time was kind of like on the trickle down. So it was like 2013, 2012. So nobody really, all the cool kids went to City Walk. So, but still we had to park there and go through. And that's the only time I've ever been happy that City Walk was there. But now when I go into the theme parks, I'm like, dang, I got to park here. I got to walk through all this nonsense just to get to the park. And then all the way back, especially when my leg was broken.
Oh, right.
Forget about it. It was like a nightmare. But love the parking garages.
And it's
over
free.
there.
So the parking is
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
Disney Springs is free. So literally
Yeah.
you could just walk around.
Yeah, and people
you know, you don't
watch.
have to spend a ton of money.
No.
You can just walk around and just sightsee and window shop and maybe get a bite of food.
Yeah.
And the safety aspect you mentioned a little earlier, I mean, you have to go through security. They're checking at every entrance to that. So you feel safe. Like, again, I
Correct.
when I have my kids with me or my wife, I'm like, let's go to Disney Springs. You know, it's a good place to walk around, feel safe, not have to worry about riffraff or anything. So,
Yeah, and even like your cars, like there's tons of cameras in those. You know, nobody's gonna be acting like hooligans in there. You know, Disney doesn't tolerate it, so
that's
it's
true.
nice. You could go like with young kids, or you know, if I took my teenage cousin there. And her girlfriend went, and I was like, okay, like, bye. You know, I'm gonna go vibe over here. You guys don't drink, so I don't know what we're gonna talk about. So you guys just like go have fun, go shop, do whatever. Call me if you need me. And so you know they're 17 and 18, but still, it's kind of like, I'd rather do that than drop them off in like College Park or something.
Right,
you know.
right.
of course.
So
Yeah, but they also have, don't they have a huge bowling alley?
Yes, let's
Yeah.
go.
Splitsville, yeah.
Splitsville.
I don't know what happened to my brain, but when Lanuba left, I think they have a new show there now, but I just kind of deleted that section of Disney Springs out of my mind until my niece loves M&Ms. Huge fan. Loves it. And so I was like, did you know there's an M&M store at Disney Springs? And everyone's like, no, I had no idea. We're always too lazy to walk down there. I'm like, exactly. Because we'll park in Lime Garage, which is, you know, like kind of in the middle section, I guess, and we never feel like walking over there. And so we went over there. I'm like, oh my God, like there's so much down, and especially at night, it gives me kind of like cyberpunk vibes with all the bright signs and everything. It's so cool, and love the Splitsville. I've eaten there. I've never bowled there.
I've done both, and the bowling's good. The food it's what you would expect. It's kind of
Bowling
like
alley
bowling
full.
alley. Yeah, but it's fine. I mean, it's good. But one little secret spot that's over there is also House of Blues. So
Yes.
it's right by
Yeah.
the Cirque du Soleil, and that, I mean, the food is incredible. The atmosphere is incredible. If you like live music, they usually have indoor live music and they have a patio, so you can go outside and listen to live music. So, I mean, House of Blues is a sleeper, but it's so worth going to check out.
I love their food because they have the Cajun spicy stuff too at House of Blues. Like they have gumbo, they have jambalaya, you know, they have, I love that. So funny story, my very first time I ever went to House of Blues was at Disney Springs, and this was probably a decade ago. And it was so hot. It was in the middle of the summer. It was June. We were with a huge group of people, and we went there, and I actually fainted. I was so hot. I had to go outside, and I'm laying on the steps, and my girlfriend she went inside, and they had like I guess it was like a bucket, and it had like soda and it had candy bars. This was a decade ago.
Yeah.
It was like a, you know, little bucket of stuff. And she was like, I'm taking this. And she just grabbed it and ran outside. She's like, have some sugar. And I was just overheated, you know. So it was like, it took me a very, very long time to ever go back to House of Blues because I had this tainted,
Yes,
like, I
yeah.
don't like that place. It's too hot, but it was not their fault. And the food is excellent. And they do have air conditioning. But it was just a
Concerts
packed.
there are so fun.
It was
because
so
it is
packed.
like
Yeah.
smaller,
It's very
but yeah.
quaint. Like you get to be right up close and personal with the live music, and they bring in some good acts, and then they have like local bands and different things. But yeah,
Yeah, sometimes they've got
venue's
big names rolling through there. I remember going there a couple times in high school because, like, whatever country artist we were listening to at the time, like, oh, he's going there, okay.
Yeah.
And the tickets were cheap. I don't know what they are now, but you know they weren't too bad. So yeah, really fun.
if you're ever in town and the Molly Ringwalds are playing, you have to go.
Are they great?
Oh my gosh! If you're like an '80s, like '70s, '80s, '90s fan, they're unbelievable. Go check them out. You will thank us later.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to make a note of that.
Yeah, yeah.
So the
You
next
will
time
Molly
you
Ringwald.
hear they're
Absolutely.
coming, just shoot me an email or a text and say they're playing next Wednesday or whatever.
They're a
You know.
British band. They come over here like 3 times a year.
Oh,
But like they have
fun.
this crazy following, and like they're amazing. They nail every song as if it's the original artist. Like
Okay.
they're a cover band, but it's unbelievable. And they dress to the part of the music that they're playing. So if they're doing a Madonna song, they'll dress like Madonna. If they're doing whatever.
Do they costume change?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it's incredible. And they nail it. And every musician in the band is a singer for a different song. Like they all rotate. They all play different instruments. And it's one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have to calendar that.
Yeah.
Oh, you will love it. You will love it.
That sounds great.
You'll have so much fun.
Okay.
So there's not anything in Disney Springs I would say that is bad, and there's nothing that I would say that you should avoid. But to wrap up the food part, then we'll talk shopping. But is there anything food-wise that isn't bad but might be your least favorite, or like didn't really wow you? Like, what do you guys think?
So STK is like this famous steakhouse. I've heard about like how great it is in Vegas, and oh my gosh, it's coming to Orlando. It's going to be at Disney Springs. So I've been to STK. The first time I was like, okay, I don't really get it, but maybe I just had a bad experience. Whatever. Went a second time, and I was like, I'm going all out. I'm getting the whatever the ribeye. I'm getting this. I'm going to get the best of the best. And I still was like,
Yeah.
it's not as good as I thought it was going to be again.
Yeah.
And the price was ridiculous. I was like, this is so expensive for mediocre food. So I wasn't really thrilled with STK. I kind of left a void. I'm like, I'll skip it.
Yeah, we went. So my friend and I's birthdays are really close together. So we had her birthday at Ruth's Chris, and so we went, and I was like, okay, like I feel, steak was kind of overdone, but whatever. So I'm like, well, we're here. It's an event, whatever. And then for mine, I was like, well, let's try the other overpriced steak place and let's go to STK. And I will say the staff there was absolutely fantastic. I had actually gotten hit in the face by like a window earlier in the day.
Wow.
And so, yeah, like right in the, like my face, it was all very traumatic. But so I had like, I was starting to get a black eye, and there was a lot of pressure, and we walked in and sat down. I looked at him and I was like, can you please bring me a bag of ice, please? And he goes, sure. Are you okay? I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I just got hit in the face. He goes, are you okay? I'm there with like my friends, like, no. And she's like, are you all right? And I was like, no, I'm totally fine. I dropped something on my face. I just need some ice. There's just a lot of pressure happening. He's like, okay, are you sure? And I was like, no, I'm okay. Thank you. But again, it was probably for two of us close to $300.
Right. Yeah.
We got, and just like you, we're like, all right, we're here. Screw it. Birthday, whatever. The sides are all separate. And I have beef with that because like it's a $60 steak or $60+ steak.
Yeah.
And then like $30 sides. And we're like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So the mac and cheese was good.
Yeah.
And the steak, fine. I don't know.
Right, but I
cook
think
steak
for
a lot at home.
$60 you could throw in a baked potato.
Yeah.
Potatoes are not
Something.
that expensive.
Yeah.
They do have like a lunch hamburger for like 10 or 15 bucks. That's amazing. And then they take like the filet mignon and they ground it down. So that's good, but it's only for lunch, and it's like for a limited time of day. But that's the only thing I've ever had at STK where I'm like, well, that was good. That was worth it. But every time I've been there, I think I actually been there 3 times. Each time I've left going.
You've tried.
Just
yeah,
like
I've tried.
underwhelmed.
I've tried.
Yeah.
It's just not it.
If I had gotten the same caliber of food at like an Outback or something, like Outback prices, it would have been like, this was great.
Yeah.
But, if you're paying all that, like, I don't know, it better like dance its way to my table or something.
That's right.
But
exactly.
yeah. I think for me, Paradiso 37, yeah, we went, again, we didn't plan. So there ended up being a party of 9 of us. So we're like, okay, we're super limited on what we can do here. It's not like we're like a group of 4. And Paradiso 37 was the only thing with stuff available. So we're like, okay, whatever. Families from out of town.
There's
will
a reason
go.
for that.
Yeah. It was kind of like to me, it felt like a Margaritaville that had to like debrand and then like got less quality. Because I was like, I'm not saying Margaritaville is peak, because Margaritaville sometimes, but like that, I was like, dang. Like, and there's no character to it. It's just all it's just kind of like,
It's pretty stale.
it's like, oh, here's the Americas, and you're looking at it and you're like, okay, so it's every food ever. So you're like, okay.
It's funny
but
when
whatever.
I told her we were going to do this podcast. We were going to talk about different food, and she goes, make sure you tell them how bad Paradiso is.
Okay, yeah. I have it in my notes. Least favorite, Paradiso 37.
It's no bueno. So.
Yeah. Like, and again, the prices, like, I think we should have waited like an extra 45 minutes for Raglan Road. We would have had like a way better time. But yeah, I keep harping on this, but my leg was broken at the time and I had my wheelchair, and their bathrooms are up like 6 steps, like not a crazy amount, but I couldn't do that with a wheelchair. And I was like, hi, how do I go to the bathroom? They're like, oh, the elevator doesn't work. It hasn't worked in a while. And I'm like, okay. So I have to hip hop all the way up these stairs and all the way through there. And they're like, I'm so sorry. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. Because they had crutches with me. I'm like, great. Yeah. I was like, this is like not a very great vibe. Yeah. No. So not a fan.
They could do better.
Yeah.
I've never had a bad meal at Disney Springs, but I would say the Coke flight was pretty bad.
Yeah.
I know that's like, not a meal,
it's
but
like a fun bad.
Yeah.
It's like, it's going to be bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. We got both trays. Isn't it two? They have 2 separate trays.
No,
I've never done the Coke flight. Is there food or is it only drinks?
It's only drinks. So you get a Coke. It's 16. There's 2 different flights. There's a Coke float flight where they put ice cream in it, and then the regular flight. So we got the regular flight. And then it's 16 things, so they stack them on top of each other, and they give you a little card. They tell you, this is Fanta in Korea, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so you're going through it, and some of them are like, okay. And then everyone's least favorite is the Beverly, which is apparently from Italy. I have friends that live there. They've never heard of it, so I don't know if this is like a psyop or something.
It's almost like something that they made. They created. It's not
totally
really.
Horrible. Yeah.
So I thought it was going to be. So it has all these different countries, which I love to learn and experience new things. So I thought, okay, this is what Coke tastes like in France, or this is what Coca-Cola tastes like in Japan. That is not it at all.
No, it's like this is their key lime soda or whatever.
It's not that at all.
There was a kiwi one that was kind of good, but
so at Epcot they have the soda.
It's the exact same thing, but you have to pay for it now in Disney Springs. Yeah,
okay.
At Epcot,
but it's still free at Disney Epcot, right?
In Epcot, it's over by Creations now, but you can still go through there. It's kind of like
it's free at Epcot.
Yeah, it's kind of like
walk in, especially on a hot day if you need something to drink. Granted, soda might not be the right thing, but nonetheless, if you need to wet your palate, you can just sample these different things and go, oh, that was horrible.
All the same things, yeah.
What did I just drink?
Yeah.
And then once in a while you'll find this one, you're like, ooh, I like
that's
it.
not too bad. Yeah, and they give you little like sample cups. And I will say the last time we went in, it was so hot, so everybody had the same idea, and it was kind of like Mad Max at all of the machines in there, because we're like, wait, oh, sorry.
People are throwing elbows.
No, it's okay,
like, watch
go.
out,
Yeah.
I'm coming in.
Let me get that Beverly. Yeah, so it's the same stuff. It's just $16 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. But it tasted bad, but it was a funny experience.
It was a cool experience.
It's like a bonding experience. Bonding through trauma. Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
I will say one of my favorite places to shop there is probably the oh my god, I totally forgot what it's called. It's the co-op. I really think the co-op is so fun. Yep. They have like a whole thing for phone cases. I went with my mom, and her and I really like things that are like, if we're gonna use it regularly outside of Disney property, we like things that are like more subtle, And so they have the whole purse store. They have different kinds of like apparel and jewelry and all that stuff. And so it was just a fun way to look at different stuff there compared to World of Disney, which is like the mega gift shop. Yeah. So it's really fun. Love shopping there. And then of course you have all the normal stores. So when they first did the whole rebuild, I was actually working at Lucky Brand Jeans down in South Florida, and the big new best one with a motorcycle hanging in it was opening at Disney Springs. And that was
the one. Is it still there?
No. And so that was the one that was like the big shining thing for the district, like for all of our stores. We're like, oh, everybody needs it. I was like, well, my family lives over there. I'll go check it out. And it was a huge store. It was next door to where Lululemon is now. I forget what that store is now. It's on a Joss A. Banks. I can't remember.
Oh,
but
I know what you're talking about.
It's not there anymore.
It's right. It's 2-story.
No, it's one, but it's like a pretty wide store. And so it was Lucky Brand for a bit, and then Lucky Brand ended up closing like the majority of their brick and mortar. So now it's another store, but that little section, like,
Well, that covered section, you're talking about the covered section.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Lululemon, I think there's like a Johnson Murphy. They've got they've got a
That's it.
shoe store, like a different
Columbia.
shoe store. Well, Columbia's across the way,
Yeah.
the Tommy Bahama. But that little spot, I would say, is probably my favorite spot
Yeah.
to shop because you're out of the heat. It's super hot most of the time in Florida. It's typically going to rain, so at least you're covered. And then Tommy Bahama is always fun, and then
Yeah.
the Columbia store is always cool. So and then what is it called? Sugar Boo?
Yes,
I think?
Sugar Boo,
Sugar
yeah.
Boo is like
It's so
such a great place to go
cool,
in and just
yeah.
like read the little signs and think of a gift for a friend or somebody you love, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's just a place to go and
it's like a neat little
trinkets and stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like anthropology style trinkets.
Yeah.
So it's like all these little like tapestries and cool stuff, and
Yeah.
it's really neat to go through there. I love walking through there, and then
And at
all,
Christmas, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
They do
all the Christmas
different
trees.
Christmas trees.
I really like how they
Yeah.
redid the Christmas tree trail this year. It was
Very
a little bit
cool.
more walking than it was before, but it forces you to kind of
walk
see
around.
all of Disney Springs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
I
they
thought that was
take the
great.
Christmas trees and they decorate each one completely different, but they have a Disney theme to them.
Movie,
So
yeah.
there'll be like a Little Mermaid tree. And then they have the new magic bands.
Yeah, so it's like
It's like a
The
magic
interactive,
Yeah.
interactive band.
plus. Yeah. So, they're a little more expensive, but literally your magic band will activate a tree. So it's not every single one of them, but it'll say
I'll
something
get a
like wave your
buzz.
band here.
Yeah, like I'll get a buzz on my thing and it's showing the colors that are on that tree, and I'm like, why is it what? And then you like do something and it like activates lights on the trees and stuff. It's cute.
Yeah, Disney Springs
Yeah.
at Christmas is really nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Absolutely.
Well, so just to finish up, are there any like tips that anybody would suggest? I know we've sprinkled some in here and there, but somebody who's never been looking to travel over there for the first time, what's like a critical tip you would let them know? Can we think of any?
That's a good question.
You said go before 5.
I would say
Yeah.
before 5, it doesn't get as busy. Man, that's a good question. A tip?
I would say
Stop and
if you're
play pig.
planning, yeah, if you're planning on going, look at the dining reservations. There's usually really great availability. We've just messed up a few times because we get there and we're like, where should we eat? Like we didn't
Yeah.
really think about it.
Right.
So if you've, got at least 24-hour notice, you should have like a great choice on restaurants. And then if you don't have that, I've never had a problem getting into Planet Hollywood relatively fast.
Yeah.
Because they're 3 stories, they're
Right.
huge, and you can be like, hey, what do you got? Even if they have no reservations, be like, how long's the wait? They're like, oh, like 15 minutes. You're like, okay. And then you can just get right in. So you're not
Right,
going
and
to
if
go
you don't
hungry.
want like a heavy meal, like I like to go, like you were
Yeah,
saying that one
again.
restaurant does tapas and stuff. Like I love that. Like have appetizers at a couple of different restaurants so you can try
Chicken
all the
guy.
themes.
We didn't even talk about the
it's
chicken guy.
funny. We were talking about the covered shopping area, and I was going to bring up the chicken guy. I went there for the first time. I don't know, like a couple weeks ago. And
Really?
and I had no expectations. Like I've seen the line and a lot of people going in and out.
Change
I'm
your
like,
life?
It must be good. Yeah. Well,
Change your life.
I took a bite of that chicken sandwich and I was like, what is this?
Yes.
It was so good.
Change
and then the
your life.
sauces that come with it.
So good.
Oh my gosh. It was a pleasant surprise. Because
Yes.
I guess I had seen some of the hype, but I'm like, it can't be that good. And-
Yeah.
Oh no, it was good.
No, it was good. Yeah.
Better than Popeyes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because I love like Raisin Canes and stuff like that. And there's actually a couple have opened in Orlando now. But when we went there, my friend was like, let's go there. And I was like, I don't know, it's really hot. And I'm going to get like overcooked chicken tenders. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I was just cranky. And she was like, no, shut up. Like, let's go eat. And you can pick a bunch of different sauces. And we got the chicken tenders and they were so good. And I didn't eat them all. And I brought them home. And I stopped at my parents' house and I was like, hey, I have some cold chicken tenders if you want them. And they were like, why would we want them? And I'm like, trust me, you want them. Even if they're cold, you want them. And they ate them. They were like, oh,
Yeah.
we got to go over there. Imagine how much better this would be when they're not 2 hours old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so good.
It
So
was
definitely need to
amazing.
try it. Yeah.
You had asked about a quick tip or like something about Disney Springs. I will tell you that I've been to the boathouse when they're like, sorry, we cannot seat you. We're totally booked. You go on the Disney app to try to book a reservation. There's nothing available. And then you just walk up to the podium and say, is there any way we can get a reservation? They usually are accommodating. Like sometimes they will say, come back in an hour or whatever. But usually they're pretty accommodating. And it's not just the boathouse. It's most restaurants. They don't want to turn you away. So if you don't see anything on the app, refresh, check it, but go to the front and just talk to them in person. And that usually can get you in. If you're persistent, they're not going to want to turn you away.
Especially lately, I feel like when the rebuild first happened, there was probably a lot more people, but also all of those new places were brand new. And so, like now that it's been a few years, a lot of these bigger restaurants, they have it down to a science. Like they are like ready. So yeah, I think the only one I was not able to get into like without a reservation was Morimoto's, which makes sense. Like
We didn't talk about Morimoto's.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Morimoto's? We'll start with that.
My friend went there and she Masaharu Morimoto was literally there when she was there. And I said, shut up, you're lying. She was like, no, he was filming something. And I was like, oh my God. So I'm like, so there's a chance. He wasn't there when we were there. I thought it was fine. Like, I'm not going to get mad and do a 1-star Google review, but I thought I liked it better than Paradiso 37, I'll say. Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I've been there a couple times. Both times were fine. Just like you said, fine. The ambiance is stellar. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Like the restaurant is beautiful. But I wasn't like, I don't want to say it was STK bad, but my expectations were here, and I think I walked out somewhere around here. So
I was going for Iron Chef,
Yeah.
and I feel like maybe I got Top Chef. Like I don't know, but I was like I don't know. Yeah, but it was pretty good. Definitely the atmosphere. You're there. I felt like we were paying for the atmosphere and the name for sure. But yeah, it wasn't horrible in any way. But it's a cool thing to say you went.
It reminds me of the old days at Mannequins, because I'd sit in there and be like, oh my gosh, I used to dance right there. So yeah, they built that basically where Mannequins was. So it was
Back in my day.
Yeah.
That was a fun place to go to.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Super fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun. My brother's favorite place to shop, he wanted me to mention it, is the left-handed bodega. So my brother, all the men in my family are left-handed. I don't know. So,
but not the women, only the men?
No, like all the men born in like our Kimball family are left-handed. I don't whatever. I'm not a geneticist, but so it's like a whole little like not bodega, whatever, like little gazebo thing that has left-handed everything. So left-handed notebooks, left-handed scissors, left-handed everything.
Really?
Yeah. And so my niece, she broke the cycle there. My brother had 2 girls, and his youngest daughter she's 2, but she's most definitely left-handed. Everything is with her left hand. And so we're like, oh, like we're gonna have to take her over there. And so that was really fun. He thought that was like he's like, finally, something for me, for my people.
I've
like,
been
okay.
recognized.
Yeah.
Is this like a kiosk?
Yeah, it's like the kiosk, like the sock kiosk is about that size.
Yep.
And so you can kind of miss it when you're like rushing around through the people, but it's literally, I forget what it's called, but it's all stuff for left-handed people. And so it's like, oh, the spiral notebook, that the spiral's on the other side, so you're not like smashing your hand on the spirals when you're writing. I guess little things are annoying when you're left-handed. So yeah, that's fun. But yeah, I'd say really there's not much tips or tricks or cheats for anything. It's just have a good time, stay hydrated.
Yeah. Stay hydrated.
For all
Get a reservation
for all
if you
you
can.
Lego fans out there, there's
Yes.
this huge Lego store there where you can
Yes.
get like really cool Lego
10
stuff.
out of 10.
Love
I
the Lego
got
store.
a massive Star Destroyer from there about
nice.
5 years ago. It was probably
It's like 5 feet long, right?
It was a little bit shorter than the length of
they're
this
massive.
couch. Yeah. The box was like probably could not fit in, is probably about as big as this chair, and it was very expensive. It's like $800. It took me, I think, 50 total hours to put it together.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and then I moved and gave it to my neighbor kid a few years ago. But he was like crazy about Legos, and he was crying when I gave it to him. So
that's
whatever,
nice.
felt better. But yeah, it was very fun. Love Legos.
The only
10 out of
downside of
10.
Legos is like once you build them, you're like, yes, it's done. But then like if you clip it, like a piece falls off, you're like,
Yes,
no.
well, that was that whole Star Destroyer, because there's so much of it where it's just like, it's like the sleek, like hanging edges. And me, like towards the end, I'm like, oh my God, I just want this to be over. I don't even like Legos anymore. And I'm trying to like put these giant panels together, and I'm like, okay, snap. And then this other one, I like wheeled it too much, and it's like cracked. And I'm like,
Crunch.
oh my God. I'm like, I don't want to like cheat and glue this together, but I'm about to.
No,
I'm about to
I
lose
think
it.
like epoxy or something is a good idea.
Right. Well, that's what we used to do with model cars.
Yeah,
Like after you were done with the model car, you'd be like, all right, let me just spray this and keep it
Yeah.
intact because I don't want the wheels popping off or whatever.
Oh, they also have the you can build your own minifig.
Yeah.
So we looked. So there's two ways to do it. You can do the custom one, and then there's another one where you can just kind of go in and pick your pieces. But the custom one is really cool. You have to book ahead of time. Apparently, it's like weeks ahead. Like it schedules out really far. It's only $11
It
per
builds
thing.
you, does it?
It builds you.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
send them a picture in your little outfit or whatever, and so it'll be printed out there for you, and then you can get little like accessories to do your stuff. So I took my niece there, and she's like really getting into Legos. I'm forcing her to get into Legos. And so we went there to get some, because you can get like, you can mix and match your own Legos, put it in a little box, and it's a few bucks. And so that's like a really big like Saturday for her. So we went, and then I was like, what's going on over there? Because there was nobody in the little print lab. I'm like, oh, well, maybe they're not busy. Their printers were down. It was broken. But a mom was there. They were visiting from Michigan. And she's like, yeah, it really sucks because we scheduled this like weeks ago, and our boys are really excited. And we go home tomorrow.
Aww.
And like the stuff broke, and they don't know when they're going to be. Their AC was also broken.
Oh.
It was kind of a
so
nightmare
it's
in there.
brutal,
Yeah, but she said that you send in a picture in whatever cool outfit you want. They'll print it all out for you. And it's $11.
So they print out literally the little pieces?
Yeah, Lego. So it's still Lego, like the Lego people, but it's whatever, if you're wearing this, they'll print it with like that shirt and your yellow shorts. And then
Right.
you can go in and pick little accessory pieces, like if you want a hat or like if you want to hold like an iPad. Or something.
I think you can even do a picture of yourself, and then they will have like you would make a mosaic of yourself, like
Yeah.
a
Oh, yeah, you
individual
can
piece.
do that, yeah.
It's like a picture of your
Like a flat
whatever
mosaic,
somebody you love
yeah.
or kids or this or that, and then you
That's
make a
cool.
Lego of them, which
Yeah.
is kind of cool.
It's really
Very
cool.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
a nice little surprise for somebody. Like,
Love
let's
the
just
Lego
pop
store.
into the Lego store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
That's
was
really cool.
definitely like my sister-in-law and I were like, oh, we're definitely gonna have to do that with my niece, like for her birthday or something. 'cause
I would have to be
she-
with an
like, to
archery
schedule
bow.
ahead. Yeah,
That's what I would want.
Yeah,
Watch out,
because,
she's,
well,
she's a sniper.
yeah, we learned how to do archery yesterday, and
Here at the cabin.
bullseyes
Yeah.
one after
She's
another.
going to be in the 2028 Olympics.
Yeah, look out.
Yeah.
Well,
in
the-
LA, she's got the LA colors on. Too.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the first round, all I did was hit the backboard and was just an epic fail.
You're
and
just
then,
dialing in.
yeah, I
Yeah,
was like,
you gotta
all
warm up.
right, you have to kind of figure it out. And then I was like, okay, I need to hold my arm a different way because all I do was brutally killing myself. Yeah, but I got the hang of it, and by the hour end, it was like I felt like I was Hawkeye. Pew! Super fun.
It was. I think that resorts like this one, and we'll get into it later, but
We digress.
like Disney Springs and like the Fort Wilderness and Boardwalk, where a lot of the stuff is outside, we're just in the hottest months ever. So when we're here in the middle of the day, it's like, but like come October, November, December,
Oh,
it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a tough time of year,
Right.
but yeah.
But that's a nice thing about Disney Springs too, is because there are so many shops and
Inside,
you know,
outside.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of places where you could literally just walk for 10 minutes, go into some place, cool off a little bit. You can walk around and then still get a break. And
The
not
live
be-
music is great. We didn't talk about that. The amphitheater they have by World of Disney.
Yeah.
We were there, I think, for Christmas or something, and we were waiting in the world's longest pretzel line. And so we got to see a ton of the show. And because my mom was like, oh, I'm dying. I got to get a pretzel. I'm like, okay. And probably took about 20 minutes. We were standing there in line, but we're just watching the whole, it was like an entire show.
And it's
they were
all
doing a
free,
whole-
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just sitting there. It's like in the cool amphitheater by World of Disney. It was so fun.
Like grab
We're
my
like,
notes. It's Dockside Margarita. So right next to
Yes.
that little
Yes.
amphitheater you're talking about, to the right of that is like a dock, and then there's this little margarita stand, and then there's live music on that margarita stand. So we always call it Buddha Bob. I don't know. It's just the name me and my wife came up with. But there's always a single guy playing an acoustic guitar, and he's just singing whatever, and it's always good. It's like I've never been there and been like, oh, we gotta go. Like we just
Yeah.
sit there. We have a couple margaritas. We're like, this is awesome. So it's a great another
Yeah.
great spot for live music.
And dockside margaritas are great. You can grab one, walk around. That's another awesome thing about it, is that you can grab a drink and just still like walk around and hang out. The watermelon margaritas there, amazing.
Yeah.
So good. And then they've got the big pin trading thing. If you're looking for like a cool magic band or whatever, like the biggest store for magic bands, like altogether, is that same like little pin trading post in the center. Then they have a Star Wars store. They got everything.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I love the Star
It's
Wars store.
so fun. Well, They're probably opening. We should probably just head over there and get brunch then, you know, since we're talking.
Yeah,
now.
let's go eat. Now I'm starving.
Yeah.
I wasn't hungry when we started, but now I'm like, okay, what am I going to do for lunch?
Yeah.
Like, I'm so
We're
ready.
gonna pass out.
Well,
Yeah.
Jerry, thank you so much. And
you.
obviously, you know, I love working with the timeshare store. You guys are great. You're so responsive, and I love that. And hope you guys had a great time listening and learning some more about Disney Springs and our favorite restaurants. So we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me.